Hello, how's it going? Welcome back to some more F1 Manager 2022 and another part of our McLaren career mode. Today we take on the Singapore Grand Prix, a place that we've had very exciting races in the past. I'm looking forward to seeing how we get on this weekend. We've had a very good season so far. Oscar Piastri won his first ever Grand Prix in the last race at the Italian Grand Prix. Lando Norris managed to come back from a mistake early on to finish in the top three, and that means that he now is 85 points ahead of Lewis Hamilton in the Drivers' Championship. So Lando doing a very, very good job this year. We're doing a good job in the Constructors as well. It's all coming to an exciting conclusion, I think, in the next 6 races. It is going to be difficult, I think, to stay on top. We are certainly in a position with a car where we aren't, the best on the grid. We do have very, very strong parts of the car, but we are not by any means the fastest car out there, but we are making the most of what we do have. I think Alpine are a very quick car. The Alfa Romeos seem massively quick, and actually, if you look on paper, the Alfa Romeo car is actually the best car on the grid currently, which is absolutely bonkers, but that shows how well they have developed. If you look at our nearest challengers, Aston Martin, of course, we threw a lot of research behind them last season. They've now fell into a sort of midfield role, and it's their drivers outdoing the cars there. With that one, if we change that to car 2, even worse for Carlos Sainz. So yeah, Lewis Hamilton is doing a good job to be second in the championship at the moment, but realistically we're going to be looking at Daniel Ricciardo winning a lot of the final Grand Prix of the year. Luckily he is 130 points behind in the championship, so realistically he's not going to win the championship from that position, but it's all very interesting nonetheless, and thank you to everybody who got involved down in the comment section last time out. I've seen a lot of love for potentially bringing Williams back to glory. Now, Williams are in a decent place with their car, actually. If you have a little look at the stats, Williams. I will get rid of my ugly mug so you can see more of the stuff on here. Williams' car, very much midfield. Some of the parts of the car are better than others, particularly their top speed, but they're not the worst in any aspect. If we look through it, Haas are pretty poor, but not really the worst out there. Mercedes are struggling. I tell you what, Red Bull are the worst in the dirty air, and actually Red Bull have a contender to have the worst car on the grid in many aspects, which is pretty crazy to say, isn't it? And that sort of explains their massive drop-off in form. But actually looking at Ferrari as well, they're very much down there. So it's completely changed in this career mode. And I think that is reflected. And actually, the drivers like Max Verstappen, Charles Leclerc, they're absolutely driving the wheels off their cars. Ocon and Perez are very, very good drivers, but they're not quite extracting as much performance from those cars as they could be. So we could see a very interesting lineup come the end of the season, because I think Alfa Romeo are going to get a hell of a lot of points. And I've had quite a few questions from people saying, how do you keep your car competitive while looking ahead to next season? And to be honest, I think the key is lots of development in the first half of the season. Any little upgrade that you can get. You don't have to add any wind tunnel time or anything. Just any upgrade that you can get on the car is progress, and do try and do that, especially before the season starts as well, to keep you in a good position. But let's add some dev points onto the drivers, Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri. Oscar Piastri now an 84 rated driver, and well, there you go, Logan Sargent is now an 81 rated driver. We'll have a quick look at the staff One for Simona Resta. Now up to 85. Nothing else for any of the other guys. Okay then, let's get ourselves into the Grand Prix weekend here in Singapore. It's going to be an exciting one. I hope you enjoy it.
We're here at the Marina Bay Street Circuit and the Singapore Grand Prix is just about to start. The name Singapore means City of Lions, and this weekend Formula One will be roaring into action. The bumpy street surfaces here make this a challenging circuit for the drivers, and the humidity causes them to lose as much as 3 kilos over the course of a race. But it's also tough on the cars, with 23 corners to tackle each and every lap. Good low-speed downforce will make all the difference here. This is it. We're down to the last few races of the season, and it's time for that final push. Who will be crowned champion at the end of it all? We'll find out soon enough. The weekend begins here.
Right then, still no rain this season, which is a bit of a shame, but I will get on with the practice sessions, and I'll see you guys for qualifying. Here we go then.
Radio check.
Radio check.
Okay, it's green now.
Yeah, I'm just going to have a little look at expected strategies. We are expecting to use softs and mediums in the Grand Prix. If we do use some mediums to try and get through Q1, that would help. So let's get Piastri out there. And in contrast to other circuits, we're not going to send them out together. I don't think there's any benefit to the tour around here. But we're going to watch our newly anointed Grand Prix winner, Mr. Oscar Piastri, around his lap of Singapore here. Looks like we got a Mercedes car not far in front of us. I think that's a Mercedes anyway. Oh, it's a Haas car actually. And, well, we managed to get through rather nicely. You can see green through the first sector, not purple. Carlos Sainz presumably is Mr. Purple at the moment. But we'll keep an eye on Piastri through this middle sector. Through the first sector, pretty much nip and tuck actually. 36.4 in the middle sector for Piastri. And for Lando, he's coming up to that split now. A 36.3, so Lando going quicker, but Piastri does go P4 and, well, 7/10 off the pace of the Aston Martin so far. So I don't think the medium tyres are going to be good enough to get through. Unfortunately, Norris went P5. A lot closer, but not quite where we need to be with it. So we are going to have to use the soft tyres. That's absolutely fine. Send Piastri out there now. And send Norris out there as well. You can see Piastri green in the first sector there. But actually, didn't improve. And Norris only 12th, so actually our car all of a sudden not looking very quick. Yeah, we're gonna have to get... Oh, I've completely messed up here. Yeah, they should be able to get out just about. It's gonna be pretty close. I'm gonna prioritise getting Piastri out there. And then Norris. But yeah, using 2 sets of soft tyres, not ideal. Yeah, are they going to manage to get all the way around? It's going to be pretty tight, but I think Piastri should get there. Norris might be a bit closer. No, I think they'll be all right, actually. So here we go. Let's experience an onboard lap with Oscar Piastri. Max Verstappen currently fastest in one of the slowest cars on the grid. The Haas cars are up there as well. Daniel Ricciardo currently slowest in the fastest car on the grid. So I think there's a lot of time to be found here. Porsche gets up to 9th. What about Perez? Where does Perez go? He goes 5th. There is definitely improvement in the times. Giovinazzi doesn't improve. What about Sainz? He goes quickest. He goes quickest. Verstappen only 2nd at the moment. Here comes Stroll over the line. He's out of qualifying. What about Tsunoda? He's out as well. Ricciardo over the line. Ricciardo goes top. And we have got green sectors from both of our drivers at the moment. Hamilton is in trouble. He's only 13th. Will be okay. Ocon is out. Norris is the man on the bubble currently. Zhou Guanyu and Lewis Hamilton also will be under pressure. It's only our two guys that can make a difference. Norris has gone purple in that middle sector. It looks like maybe our guys were held up by traffic on their original laps. Here goes Oscar Piastri then round the final couple of corners, and can Oscar Piastri get himself out of trouble here? He's in the bottom 5 at the moment. He's actually 18th at the moment, and he comes over the line. And where does he go? He goes 10th. Norris comes over the line. He goes fastest. But Piastri struggling, it would appear. Only 11th for him. But there you go. I mean, Zhou Guanyu, Esteban Ocon, both Williams cars, and Lance Stroll out in qualifying 1. Right. So I think we're going to have to go out on used tyres in session 2. It's completely changed my plan now. We're going to try and get out there early with Oscar Piastri.
Should be green.
We'll get Norris out there as well. And hopefully they'll have a nice clear track for the majority of their lap time. There goes Norris around the first couple of corners. Looks like Piastri's got through the traffic. He could be in a bit of trouble. He's coming up behind the Alpine. I think that Alpine should stay well clear, and does do that. Norris, meanwhile, is going to be in a little bit more trouble, but does go quicker than Piastri in that first sector by about 1/10 and a half, actually. So Norris definitely going quickly. Keep an eye on Piastri through this middle sector. I don't think he will catch the Mercedes by the end of the lap, but it's possible. There's a lot of corners and a lot of places to get caught. But Piastri looking very smooth through there. Let's watch Norris. Norris is now caught behind the Alpine, and I think that will be the end of Norris's fast lap. Oh my goodness, 8/10 slower than Piastri in the middle sector. So Norris is going to have to go again. I'm actually going to just call him in now. Piastri, meanwhile, he's going to finish his lap just before he catches the Mercedes. We'll see what sort of time he can put in here. Comes round the final corner, and it's a 1:34.5.
Yeah, Lando pit lane.
Lando in the pit lane.
Okay, understood.
And we'll have to get him back out. So I'm going to actually put 2 additional laps of fuel in there, just in case he needs to use them. Obviously, Piastri coming in. This lap. Norris is out there. He's hopefully going to try and get a bit of a gap. Yeah, I think Piastri is going to have to go for new tyres towards the end of this session. Norris going slightly quicker than he did before. Norris up to P6 as it stands. I'm gonna let him go out there again. See what he can do this time. To be fair, not improving, so not worth it. Comes into the pits. Let's get him on a brand new set. Piastri out there, Norris out there as well. And focusing on themselves. We'll pick them up around about halfway through. Well, actually picking them up right at the end here. Piastri comes across the line. Only 13th for Oscar Piastri. Won in Italy. Only 13th fastest here. What about Norris? He's already through, but where can he get? This is a good indication of where he might qualify. He goes P2. But Oscar Piastri is out of qualifying. And that's a shocker. So is Lewis Hamilton, Bottas, Vettel and Porsche, the others to join. But Daniel Ricciardo, 0.3 quicker than anybody else so far. That is mightily impressive. But a shame for Oscar Piastri. Never really looked like doing it today. But yeah, Lando Norris, we'll have to see what he fancies. I think go out there on a used set for your first run.
Radio check, please, Lando.
And we'll see what he can produce on his first lap.
Track should be green.
Everybody is out there. I don't think Norris will come across any traffic, which is lovely for Norris. And we'll see where Albon comes out in all of this. Norris does go quicker than Albon, and Ricciardo, wow, 0.3 quicker than Lando. That is huge. That is a huge amount of time. And I think we're going to see Daniel Ricciardo dominate this race, although he has got a grid penalty. Yeah, I think leave it a little bit longer, actually, before we head out. Closer towards the 2 minutes mark. I don't want to get out there too quickly, and we might actually hold up Daniel Ricciardo here, which could hurt Lando on his lap. But yeah, we'll watch him. We'll see how he gets on. Brand new tyres. Sainz has managed to pop up into P2. Not a good first sector from Lando. Yeah, probably in a fighting battle, a losing battle with Lando here. Oh, Russell's popped up into P3, so there is time to be found here. This track is definitely at the best it's ever been right now. Oh, but Lando again yellow in that middle sector, so he's losing time relative to what he was doing before. And yeah, just looking at his sector times, I mean, they're fairly comparable, but I don't think it's going to be good enough to go up any positions. Lando Norris coming around the final couple of corners, and it has been glory the last few races for McLaren, but not this race. A 34.2 over the line, and that is only enough for fourth position. It was a better final sector, but the first two let him down, and he ends up being 3.5 tenths off pole position man Daniel Ricciardo. So it's going to be Carlos Sainz that starts first. George Russell in second. Lando Norris in third. Lots of penalties, which could mess up the order quite significantly here.
Strapping themselves in, ready for race day.
Qualifying went well for McLaren, and they're set to start this race feeling quite comfortable. Aston Martin performed well during the qualifying session, and they're rewarded with a good grid position for the race. And the clouds today look very ominous, which means that teams may have to contend with rain at some point during the race.
Well, we've got some fascinating strategies that are sure to be applied today. But for now, all eyes shift to the starting line of the Singapore Grand Prix.
Okay, right. We are ready to rock and roll in this Grand Prix. I think we're going to have to perhaps use our guarantee slot to try and claw some money back. We'll say Lando Norris is going to finish second. We'll say Oscar Piastri is going to be in the top 5. Would be a big result, that, if we could manage it. But, yeah, I think, actually, we're going to want to stay out of the traffic for as long as possible. With Lando Norris, we're going to go pretty hard here. I mean, that's, what, 20 seconds quicker to do that? That's insane. And Oscar Piastri, well, we'll do something similar with him as well. And come in much earlier than previously advertised. Yeah, that looks pretty good to... Oops. That looked pretty good to me. There. Right. Okay, then. Little bit of extra fuel. But it's generally something that we start struggling with towards the end of the race. So here we go. We are ready to rock and roll in this Singapore Grand Prix.
There's a very overcast night in store for the drivers who are now lined up on the grid. And there's Lando Norris. They've managed a third-place start for this race, but can they turn it into a win? And it's the other McLaren. A top 10 position today, but will they be able to capitalize on it? Everything's been building to this. And this is it. The Singapore Grand Prix.
Here we go then.
It's lights out and away we go.
Lights out, away we go, and Sainz off to a very, very good start, but George Russell has got the inside line, and George Russell side by side with Carlos Sainz into turn 1, and it looks like George Russell leads this Singapore Grand Prix. Verstappen has managed to jump George Russell, Lando Norris.
That's it.
Although Lando has managed to get straight back past. Oscar Piastri, meanwhile, he's up to 9th place. Didn't know where he actually started. He did overtake Gasly, though, at the start there.
Gain a position.
And already trying to put Valtteri Bottas under pressure. If we look at the tyre choices, almost everyone has went soft tyres other than ourselves. And Lance Stroll at the back. So very different strategies. That's how we're going to try and win this race, is through strategy. And staying with these guys throughout the first stint. I feel like Lando Norris needs to get back onto neutral, save that energy deployment, whereas Oscar Piastri might be able to utilise this to get past Valtteri Bottas, and if he can get past Valtteri Bottas quickly, then that would really, really benefit his race. And he's going to have a little look down the inside here. Ooh, it was touch and go there. Yeah, I don't know. And it's a tough balancing act, isn't it, of how much do you push at this early stage versus how much it actually matters. Well, these guys are going to be coming in fairly early, but here we go then with Oscar Piastri. He is side by side now with Valtteri Bottas, and surely goes down the inside into turn 1 and does indeed do exactly that and should manage to pull away, although Bottas is going to have the inside line here into turn 4. Yeah, they remain 8th and 9th.
It's a race position gained for Mercedes.
As they were. So, yeah, I think it might be worth zooming through a little bit here. The interesting part of this Grand Prix is going to be when those guys come into the pits and seeing what sort of pace we're going to be able to pull off here. Now, Carlos Sainz, if he gets more than a second in front of Russell, that is going to allow us to get past George Russell pretty quickly with Lando Norris. I think Norris has got more race pace at the very least than Russell. Yeah, Russell DRSing in a good place, but yeah, very tough to overtake round here, so it is going to be very strategy built, and I am going to try and save some fuel for later in this race. We are kind of sacrificing this first stint a little bit because we know that everybody other than Stroll is going to be coming into the pits within the next sort of 10 laps of this Grand Prix, and that is pretty huge. If we can look after our tyres, look after our fuel, stay within striking distance, then when we've got some clear air we can push a little bit harder and take this race by storm. Now, Piastri will have a chance of getting past Gasly, but again, it's that question of, do we need to? You know, it's not going to massively benefit where he is at the moment. Norris has been passed by Ricciardo. I think he needs to stay with Ricciardo. If he wants to win this Grand Prix, that's where he has to stay. Now, Ricciardo is quicker than everyone else anyway, so I think Ricciardo could end up being somebody that catches us by the end of the race. Either which way. But now we're in two separate DRS trains here. Norris at the back of the leader's DRS train, Albon at the head of the second DRS train, and Piastri in the middle of that at the moment. And then you got the back markers, sort of Ocon, Giovinazzi, Hamilton, Stroll and Tsunoda. So Sainz and Russell are battling for the lead. Ricciardo just waiting to pick up the pieces in third there. And as I say, I think unless there's a safety car, which could well happen here at Singapore, unless there is that safety car, then I think we're pretty well set with where we're at the minute. George Russell into the pits. So people starting to come in now, and I think over the next sort of 5 laps, everybody will come into the pits. And yeah, there you go. Some of the midfielders coming in now. Piastri released into the wild, not far behind Valtteri Bottas. And now Daniel Ricciardo is in. And you are really starting to see how this race is potentially going to pan out. So, there's Piastri in 4th place at the moment. We've got Norris in 2nd, I think. Sainz is probably going to come in this lap or next lap. Sainz is in. Right now is the time for Lando to use a bit of extra engine. Basically see what sort of lead he can pull out, and it looks like Piastri is going to go up into 2nd place as Norris puts in the fastest lap of the race. And this is crucial now. And now we're going to switch to leader. Gap to leader, because that is now very, very important.
Sainz has pitted.
So Carlos Sainz is in the pits. Leclerc is going to be next. Stroll up to P4. Now Stroll is going to be a bit of a cork in the bottle for everyone. They are going to have to pass Lance Stroll. Every single driver except ours are going to have to pass Lance Stroll, and that could in itself win us this Grand Prix. Obviously Piastri 6.7 behind Norris. He's starting a little bit further back, but I think Piastri's in a very good place too. So let's have a little look at Stroll here. Ricciardo and Sainz are just behind him on the same tyres. Now, has anybody gone hards? Yes, quite a few drivers have gone hards. Those that have got mediums, they're going to struggle to take those mediums all the way to the end of the race. Could find themselves a little bit slower come the end of it. But we'll keep an eye on Lance Stroll and see whether he is able to keep, as we're suspecting, keep the likes of Ricciardo and Sainz behind him for a reasonable amount of time. So I'm coming around now. And Leclerc is in the pits. So where's Leclerc going to pop out in all of this? He's coming down the pit lane now. Tyres on the car and he's leaving the pit lane. Stroll comes round. 4th place for him. Let's have a little look at lap times, and wow, Norris half a second quicker than Oscar Piastri at this circuit, which is quite significant here. We've not really had that sort of gap in other races, but yeah, you can see they're struggling to get past Lance Stroll, and we've already made, you know, sort of 2 seconds on that last lap on these guys, and if the longer this goes on, the more time we pull out. And of course we're going to be on fresh soft tyres come the end of the race. We are not coming in for another, you know, 12-13 laps. Piastri obviously has a brand new set of soft tyres. Norris is a scrub set. Yep, Stroll remaining in front. Of Daniel Ricciardo as it stands. And look at that big train from Russell downwards. That's a huge train of cars. If we can come out in front of those, that will be invaluable. So we need to calculate it to perfection. And here comes Ricciardo again. He's very close to Stroll this time, but again, that straight just not long enough. But if he can stay sort of this distance behind Stroll up towards turn 4, you would imagine he will get past this time. So here he comes, Daniel Ricciardo, and I think he will get past this time. It's going to go around the outside, which turns into the inside. So Ricciardo is through. Lando Norris doing a great job out front. Let's zoom it through now, because Ricciardo will start to close in on the leaders here. And that's kind of what we're expecting. Right, gonna pop down to balance now. We've sort of utilised as much as we can for the moment. But Stroll's still in front of Sainz, although Sainz has just got through this time. Stroll again will hopefully keep this big train behind him. Yeah, Piastri's the one where he could end up in that train. We don't really want that. So 7 laps for both drivers. Right, there's safety car, and I don't think Norris can make it in time. But yeah, I think we switch to the hard tyres now. And this is what can happen. Because what lap are we on? 24. There's no way soft tyres are going to make it to the end. So yeah, Norris is now screwed.
Sounds like a few cars have crashed.
And what happened?
Let's have a look. All eyes on Kevin Magnussen here.
So it was Kevin Magnussen. Is he going to go into the back of Russell here? Oh, wow. Wow, it's Stroll. Stroll's gone into the wall. Magnussen's gone into the back of him. I'm actually a little surprised it's not a red flag, if I'm honest with you. But Lando Norris is in a tough situation now. I will tell you that much for free. Now here comes Piastri. He's going to come out in P3 or P4. So Piastri's going to be a big winner from all of this. Yeah, P4. We've come out on hard tyres.
Got back a bit.
Because obviously we needed something different to the mediums. Yeah, where will Norris come out? That's the question. And I don't know.
Got loads of energy.
I think with Norris we might have to just tell him to cancel his pit stop. Maybe just attack.
100% pace, 100% pace.
Because otherwise he's going to end up right at the back.
Yeah, confirm. Just be careful with this tyre. Yeah, confirm.
And if that safety car had been called just a little bit earlier, we could have got Norris in and out. He's lost a pit stop, essentially. I mean, you can see that by Piastri. He came into the pits and now is just 3 cars behind him. But yeah, Norris would have been at the back had he come in there. And I just think track position is king at this stage of the Grand Prix.
Safety car is
Now,
on this lap.
how well has he looked after his tyres?
Yeah, confirm.
Reasonably. He's got about 8 laps, and I think he's going to just have to attack
100% pace now.
as much as he can. Now, Piastri, I honestly think Piastri could, if he wanted to, attack these tyres until the
Just
end,
need to push now.
which is what will help him. So yeah, we're going to have to think about it. Yeah, well, it says it will be slower to actually do that, so... Yeah, okay. Maybe just aggressive then from Piastri, but here goes Lando Norris.
Now
He
overtaking until the control line. There'll be 2 laps with no DRS.
he is leading this Grand Prix,
Back off.
and I'm hoping that he can pull out a gap. And of course, he will be turning on to the soft tyres later on. And you can see already Norris just pushing on here. But safety car has really come out at a wrong time for him. We knew the soft tyres just would not last to the end. Norris needs to do his best 2013 Sebastian Vettel impression. Get that 1 second window within the first lap and just sail off into the distance. Obviously Daniel Ricciardo is very, very fast behind him. And that will make a big impact on whether or not Lando Norris wins or is at least able to pull out a gap in this Grand Prix. He needs to stay out of DRS range, and it looks like he is going to do that, to be fair. So we're going to zoom it through. Piastri already sort of dropping off the back slightly as Lando Norris does put in faster slap. Has pulled out a 2 second lead over Daniel Ricciardo. Now we're going to go neutral with him. And he will keep pushing until he comes into the pits, basically.
So DRS is enabled now.
And he's got about 5 laps until he comes in. He needs to stay within that gap now. Sainz is under pressure from Oscar. Now we need to kind of leave it as late as we can with Norris here. But he is going to be caught by Daniel Ricciardo. Oh, there is a crash. Don't know what has happened. It's Giovinazzi, but I don't think there's going to be any safety car. So now that Daniel Ricciardo is going to pass him,
please save fuel from now.
we'd like to just follow him. Just follow him for a few laps. Try and stick at his pace. With DRS, and if we can delay it until... Well, that's the thing, his tyres have fallen off a cliff now. How's his gap to Verstappen? That's about 10.3. Yeah, it's staying fairly constant, so I'm actually going to bring him in this lap. He's going to go on to the soft tyres. So in comes Lando Norris. And there you go. I mean, he is still going to fall to the back. And you could argue, well, that's where he would have been anyway. However, he's on the soft tyres, which are a lot quicker than everything else. We'll see where he ends up come the end of the race.
And McLaren with a great overtake.
Apparently, Piastri's just
Here's
overtaken
Now
Sainz.
just take a look at the McLaren.
And then he went down the inside. Nice move, that. We need to keep an eye on Piastri in this race and try and work out when to push with him. Because looking at tyre life... Oh! We've got another safety car, and Norris, well... Yeah, I mean, that is harsh.
Safety car deployed, safety car deployed.
That is very, very harsh.
Drive to the Delta.
Let's take a look at the replay. Okay, so there we have the Alpine.
We've got the Alpine of Sebastian Vettel list. Oh, that's a huge crash.
Clearly see the contact there.
That's a huge crash. So both Alpines are out. Oh, well, Vettel apparently is continuing. I don't see how he can do that, but he is doing. And that will now bring Norris up to the back of the pack. Yeah, Norris, safety cars have not gone well for him today, it's fair to say.
So safety car is in this lap. Safety car is in this lap.
Cool.
Norris might be able to do something now, but what can he do from... Yeah, that's the big question.
Maximum pace.
Confirm.
Okay, Lando, you can turn recharge off if you want to.
Cool.
But Piastri now might be able to
Happy
get
to
past
push.
Daniel Ricciardo.
Yeah.
So here we go then.
And one final reminder, no overtaking before the line.
Confirm.
So here comes Oscar Piastri straight away, using a little bit of overtake out of the final corner. And will he be able to pass Daniel Ricciardo down this straight? Coming up, I mean, surely this is going to be a great opportunity for him. And he is having a look. Is he going to go down the inside? Not yet. But he might have a look later in the lap. He might have a look later in the lap. He goes down the inside and Oscar Piastri is into the lead of this Singapore Grand Prix. Wow.
McLaren gain a position.
So, there goes Oscar. On his way. He's using ERS to try and pull away. Norris in a tricky position. He's trying to get past one of the Williams cars. He manages that quite nicely in the end. He's got Lewis Hamilton for company very, very soon. But Oscar Piastri has now got out of the 1 second window. Is now pushing heavy. And wow, Norris already passed Lewis Hamilton. Let's have a little look at how he did that.
Happened there. Now just take a look at the McLaren.
Yeah, just finding places on the track. So he went round the outside and just has so much more grip on those soft tyres. So Norris in a really nice position. He's got Ocon next.
DRS is enabled. DRS is enabled.
And here goes Lando Norris round the outside of the final corner. Norris is through. Very nice.
Nice job, mate. Nice job.
We'll see what he can manage here. He should manage to get back into the top 10 probably. From the end of the Grand Prix. And well, if Piastri was able to win this race, that would be unbelievable, wouldn't it? Still think Daniel Ricciardo is going to be the man to beat. Yeah, this is going to be a chance for Norris, I think. Let's zoom it through. Will Norris be able to get past Zhou? Yes, he has managed to get past him. We'll have a look at that on the replay in a second. We'll pick him up now. think he is going to have to go balanced here. 19 laps to go.
Big lift. Yeah, go on.
Piastri, meanwhile, leading the way, pulling out a gap to Daniel Ricciardo. So doing a great job as it stands. And that sort of says a lot, really, doesn't it? Says a lot about where we're at with Oscar. You know, he didn't qualify very well. In fact, only qualified 13th, fastest. But his race pace has been very, very good since we talked about potentially sacking him after 4 races, and he just wasn't up to it. He wasn't up to the job. But now, can Norris get past Porsche here? This is what we're expecting. But not quite yet. So we'll have to wait for that. And yes, he has managed it this time. And now
And McLaren with a
we'll
great
try and
overtake.
catch the Ferraris. And it will start to get more difficult as the race goes on now. Although, having said that, people are going to start struggling on their tyres fairly shortly. We got 16 laps to go. Can Norris get back up into the top 4? That's where his target will be. Whether he'll be able to do that or not, I just don't know. I think we're going to have to harvest.
Focus on fuel from now, please.
I think, yeah, let's conserve some fuel. Let's get him back into a position where he can absolutely attack for the final few laps. Oh my goodness, Piastri's going to have to conserve as well. Didn't really realise that, to be honest. So yeah, Piastri now is getting caught. I think we'll have to go for balanced.
You can stop lifting coast. We're not okay on fuel.
We've got 11 laps to go here. Now we're trying to give Norris a bit of a point of attack. Yeah, I'm hoping that Piastri can just utilise his fuel all right. We don't want to let Ricciardo back into DRS range too soon. We can give him sort of 1 lap, can't we? Right. So we're going to push on the fuel. And for the next couple of laps, we're going to go overtake with Norris, and straight away he's made an inroad on Leclerc, and that's why we held
really
back
good
for so long, to give him something to work with in these final few
McLaren
laps.
gain a position.
That was a very, very good overtake. Right. Here we come then. DRS enabled. Oh, this would be a lovely overtake to be able to get at this early stage. Yeah. Perfect. That's what you want. Now back into neutral.
Okay, Lando,
Start to close
nice
the
job.
gap. We've got Bottas and Russell fighting it out. Piastri, meanwhile, in a good place with his tyres and actually gaining on the fuel a little bit as well. Right, Norris now.
Press overtake.
Yep, confirm.
And this could be pretty huge out of this corner. He's made this a little bit of a specialist spot, this. Use an overtake. Didn't quite manage it there, but I think we'll now be in a great position. So here he comes. If he can fly around the final corner, use a bit more overtake as they cross the line. Maybe not. Here we go. And Norris is through. That's good.
And McLaren with a great overtake.
We're not okay on fuel.
So we got to make a decision at some point of when Oscar Piastri has to conserve some fuel, but hopefully he'll be all right. And then here we go with Norris again.
Overtake available if needed.
And can he go down the inside
Confirm.
of Albon? He is having a little look, you know. But I don't think he's going to manage it this lap. But we'll keep an eye on him and see if he can pull it off here. I mean, it's going to be an absolutely massive achievement if Norris can get back into the top 5 here. And obviously Hamilton well down, out of the points at the moment. There'll be another crucial blow, you would think, to Hamilton's championship
You
push.
can use overtake.
And trying to go for 9 world titles. That, you know, Norris is in a very good position in this world championship. And here he goes with some ERS. He's passed Albon. He's into the top 6 now. And now is right behind
Okay, mate, nice work.
Valtteri Bottas, his old teammate. Who I don't think will make it too difficult for him to pass.
McLaren gain
We'll
a
zoom it
position.
forward. DRS obviously enabled here, but we'll just take a little bit of time. And then Russell will be the tough one, but he's going to have a little look at Bottas now. He's got a chance here. He's got an opening. Is he going to go down the inside? He is. That's a huge move from Lando Norris. And he is through. Just about. Just about. Wow, that was huge from Norris.
And McLaren with a great overtake.
And now he's going to try and push to get behind George Russell. And should get within a second of him pretty quickly. Yeah, their tyres are dropping pretty quick. I mean, Bottas's tyres were looking pretty rough. Now then, Piastri, 2 seconds ahead. We're going to try and conserve just to make sure his
Lift and coast will help that.
fuel gets to the end. So here is Lando Norris now. And that's another 7 seconds until you get to the next car, which is Carlos Sainz. I don't think he's going to make it that far. But this shows the sort of pace that Norris has had. DRS active, but Russell's going to squeeze him right up against the wall. DRS again, and this time goes down the inside, and Norris is through. Right.
Yeah, it was a good job.
There was some big lifts there from Piastri. He's lost about half a second to
Lift and coast.
Copy.
Ricciardo, but timed it well, so that Ricciardo is now just out of DRS range. Ricciardo is on pretty slow tyre. I mean, that's the thing. Norris may well catch Sainz because of the tyre situation, but you know, we'll just have to see, won't we? It's going to be pretty close. He might, you know. He might catch Sainz. Piastri 1.5 ahead of Ricciardo. Norris now within 4 seconds of Sainz.
So this is
Here we go, last lap, and Piastri on his last lap of this Grand Prix, looking like he... Oh! Norris might not make the end of the race on the fuel he's on.
And save fuel from
So yeah, I think he's going to have to just look after the fuel. Piastri, meanwhile, 1.6 seconds ahead. We've got yellow flags. Somebody's ran wide. What has happened? Who was it?
Who's running
It was
wide then?
Albon. So, and I think he's okay. So yeah, Norris struggling, but Piastri on course for his second Grand Prix victory in a row. And it's quite unbelievable. This is not what we were expecting in this race. Piastri hasn't really had the pace all weekend, but these hard tyres that he's managed to keep fairly fresh have served him very well. Obviously, the safety car massively helped Piastri's race. It did the opposite to Lando Norris. It's meant that Norris has been in a very difficult situation, but he has forced his way through the traffic very nicely in this final stint. But it's going to be Oscar Piastri's day. Oscar Piastri, just like London buses, you wait half a season for a victory to come along, then two come along at once. Oscar Piastri wins the Singapore Grand Prix, and Norris is going to come round. He's going to finish fourth, and a very, very good 12 points for him.
Take a look now. It's first place for McLaren.
And that was a brilliant performance from Oscar, and I can't believe we've actually won this race. We have not had the fastest car. Daniel Ricciardo has very much been the fastest man, of course, had that grid penalty, and that is why he hasn't won today. He started down the order slightly. Obviously, all those laps stuck behind Lance Stroll didn't help. But, wow.
Okay, that's the check.
Lando Norris wins 12 points. He's got fourth place. Piastri, of course, got fastest lap as well. So 26 points in the bag for him. Russell finishes a brilliant fifth. Albon finishes in sixth in the end. Then Bottas, then Verstappen. Leclerc and Perez get 3 valuable points for Ferrari. And, well, overall, a very, very good day for McLaren.
It was such a joy to watch McLaren's driver give it their all. A fantastic result for McLaren there.
I couldn't agree more. It just shows what this team can do when all the pistons are firing.
After an intense weekend, the team ends in first place in the constructor standings.
Next round will see us head east as F1 prepares for the Japanese Grand Prix. We'll see you at Suzuka, a firm favourite for the drivers.
Yes, very, very good. Oscar Piastri wins the Singapore Grand Prix ahead of Daniel Ricciardo in second. Carlos Sainz a solid third for Aston Martin. Lando Norris finishes fourth in the end. Russell fifth with Albon in sixth. Bottas seventh. Verstappen eighth. Leclerc ninth and Perez 10th outside of the points. Sebastian Vettel in the Alpine. Lewis Hamilton has had another poor weekend, really. And, well, Esteban Ocon's Red Bull is the second slowest of all. Into the Drivers' Championship then. Oscar Piastri now up to third place, actually only 1 point behind second place Carlos Sainz. It's quite ridiculous, really. Oscar Piastri, because of the double points situation, is not out of the championship battle yet. If he continues to win Grand Prix between now and the end of the year, he could find himself in a position to win the World Championship. But Lando Norris still very much the favourite, nearly 100 points ahead. He's actually 91 points ahead of Carlos Sainz now. It's going to be very, very tough to stop Lando Norris winning his first world title. Into the Constructors, we are a decent chunk ahead, 96 points ahead of Aston Martin. We've had two very, very good Grand Prix. Alfa Romeo very much closing in on Mercedes. Red Bull have had a bit of a stinker again, only 4 points for them this race, so they're clinging on to fourth place as it stands, but will probably wind up finishing sixth on current form. Ferrari, as I said, 3 very useful points, and hopefully that will be enough to hold off Haas between now and the end of the year. Lando Norris, good race for him. Oscar Piastri, of course, another excellent victory for him. Logan Sargent, was in free practice. 4.8 million made in profit this Grand Prix. And there you have it then. Japan, the next race in the next episode, with 5 races to go. We've got Japan, the United States, of course, then Mexico, Sao Paulo, before Abu Dhabi, and double points on the line for that Grand Prix. That is going to be exciting. I don't exactly know how it's all going to transpire. As I say, it's a big moment for Lando Norris. He's champion-elect at the moment after 6 wins this season. You know, the wins have been fairly well spread out this season between the drivers. Daniel Ricciardo hasn't won one yet, but you're expecting that he will win Grand Prix very, very soon in that Alfa Romeo car. But yeah, it's been an exciting episode. As I said, Singapore always throws up exciting Grand Prix. So we will be back on Friday with the Japanese Grand Prix, and we'll be looking to get another great stride in our quest to win both World Championships with McLaren this season. If you have enjoyed that, give it a big thumbs up down below. Subscribe for plenty more F1 Manager videos, and I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.